Joining us now, Victoria de Francesco Soto, the Dean of the Clinton School of Public Service at the University of Arkansas. She is an MSNBC contributor, and Michael Steele, former RNC chairman and co-host of The Weekend here on MSNBC. So, Michael, first, what's your reaction to the Cheneys supporting Vice President Harris?
I think it's profoundly important. I know some people look at it and go, oh, okay, well, it's not going to move the needle. It actually does. I think it affirms the permission structure that many of us who remain inside the Republican Party, and certainly those who left, have tried to create for Republicans and center-right independent voters. To say it's okay that, it is not a profound stain on your, political heritage if, you vote for a Democrat. As Liz admitted, she's never voted for a Democrat before. And for a lot of Republicans, that's a big step. So for both of them, her father and herself, to so full-throatedly come out in support of this effort, and to say it's not enough, and this is important, it's not enough just to write in President Reagan, because we know President Reagan ain't on the ballot. So don't, make an affirmed choice for Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, because the country needs that affirmation at this moment.
And Victoria, back in 2020, when President Biden selected Vice President Harris as his running mate, then Congresswoman Cheney called Harris a radical liberal in an interview with Fox. It's a big turnaround. How significant is her endorsement, do you think?
It is a big deal. I think her endorsement and her father's endorsement are a big deal, because I think it really does speak to that chunk of moderate Republicans who have been struggling with the direction of the party. That being said, it's not that big a deal for a whole bunch of other Republicans. And having spent a lot of time in Texas, I saw the evolution of the Republican Party. This was the land of the Bushes, where they were essentially royalty. But then you started seeing over the last couple of years, and it was really illustrated in the demise of George P. Bush in state politics, where the party had moved on. So these elders, the Cheneys, the Bushes, the Romneys, they no longer really connect with a significant portion of the base. So when we say it's an important endorsement, it is, but we need to parse it out in terms of who we're talking about, old school GOP or that base that we're seeing sticking with a Donald Trump no matter what.
Yeah, Michael, is there an old school GOP still around?
Yeah, I'm old G. There we go. Here we go, right here. You got one on the show. I'm old G. I'm old G. I joined the party in 1976. All these pretenders, who've come all late, calling someone like me a rhino, need to just step it down a little bit, because you haven't done the work. All you did was fantasize about Donald Trump and create images him, idolatrize him in a way that is irrelevant to the political construct. But having said that, I think to the point just made, there is some relevance here. It may not be relevant in a place like Texas, but to give that permission structure to Republicans and independents, center-right independents in Wisconsin, Michigan, Arizona, Georgia, North Carolina, can make a big difference. It's not about grabbing 70%. It's about grabbing 1%, 2%, 3% more of that vote that otherwise would either write in another name or not participate at all. And now they can see a little bit of room to do that. And so the old G's like myself were saying, it's okay to stay on this part of the playground. There's room here. Because the country needs us to be here right now for it. This is not about, oh, yeah, now I'm a Democrat for Kamala Harris. No, I'm an American who's going to elect a president who actually gives a damn about the Constitution and doesn't want to tear it up and doesn't want to be a dictator on day one or for just a day, because we know that's not real. You go down that road, you open up something, Jose, that it's just not healthy for anybody.